Today's episode of Round Guy Radio is brought to you by the Cedar Rapids Titans. They're a brand new sponsor, and you can find all 5 of their home games broadcast live on YouTube on Round Guy Radio. But also we have Smithburg Auto, InShot Trailer Sales, and the Packwood Locker. We're talking Winfield-Mount Union Wolves with Coach Edwards today. Welcome to the program, Coach.
Yep. Thanks for having me.
So I'm just going to ask you in general, tell us a little bit about your I don't know if you played 6 games or 7 games. That seems to be about where everybody's at. But tell us about this first third of the season.
Yeah, so we've got 6 games in so far, sitting at 4-2. We had to reschedule. We only lost 1 game because of weather. That was Holy Trinity, but we got them rescheduled here for the middle of January or something. So they're sitting at 4-2 right now, 4-1 in Super Conference North.
Okay. Was there any particular win that was kind of big for you guys?
No, I don't. Not necessarily. We kind of try to treat every game the same. It was kind of up and I would say a little bit of like an up and down first part of the season. Just kind of battled some injuries, and I don't think I've ever had so many turned or sprained ankles in a stretch of 2 or 3 weeks as we had this year. But just really looking forward to getting everybody healthy and then getting back on that.
Well, it seems like defensively you're way up there, because it doesn't seem like the team that you're playing score very many points. But offensively, it does seem to be a little up and down. Sometimes you're scoring 50 points a game, and sometimes you're scoring 70 points a game. I'm assuming maybe some of these injuries explain some of that.
Yeah, maybe a little bit, but some nights we just haven't shot the ball well, or other nights we've turned it over way too much. Our last game at Minneapolis, we had over 20 turnovers, so hard to put up too many points when you're giving the other team the ball so many times. But we do have a bunch of guys capable of making a lot of shots. So yeah, we're going to rely on our defense partially to turn other teams over and give us easy looks and transitions. So we got to make sure we come out with a lot of intensity on defense and make teams uncomfortable, which for the most part I think we've done pretty much every game this year. So nobody's really had a great offensive night against us yet, but so we just have to continue with that energy.
All right. Well, you're in the north there. Seemed like there's 4 or 5 teams that kind of did have a pretty good first 4 games. You and Waco and Pekin and Hillcrest and Columbus had a pretty good start, and most everybody else has at least 1 win in the north there. How do you see the upper tier of that shaking out?
Yeah, I think you kind of have it right there. We played 2 of those teams that you've listed so far. We had a nice win against Junction, and then we lost up at Hillcrest. We were without our point guard that game, another ankle injury. So we'll get them again later in the season. But we got within the next 5 days here, we play both Waco and Pekin. Two of those teams and that you mentioned. So yeah, the North is really very balanced. A lot of teams there that on any given night they can, whoever shoots it a little bit better and takes care of the ball a little bit better is probably going to win. So yeah, a lot of balance, and it'll be a battle pretty much every night.
Every team seems to have a guy capable of scoring, or having a big night anyway. So let me ask you just about the statistical leaders in the first 6 games.
Yeah, so as of right now, I believe Isaac Egley's our leading scorer. And then we got Cody Melks and Max Edwards are right there a little bit behind him. We've been pretty balanced so far. I think we've had probably 5 or 6 different guys lead us in scoring on any particular night. So that's always good to see, just because you rely on one guy too much, and then they have an off night, you're struggling. But so yeah, pretty balanced scoring there. Rebounding, both I think Max is right around 9 or 10 a game, and Cody's right there behind him. So they've both done a really nice job rebounding for us. And then I'm not for sure off the top of my head where we're at assist wise, but I know Isaac's at 3 or 4 a game. I would guess probably Max and Nick Sparrow are right around in that range too. So for the most part, we do a really good job of distributing the ball and sharing it. Not a lot of one-on-one play. So typically our assist make baskets is really high, and we'd like to continue that. But so yeah, those are kind of the guys that have stepped up the most for us in those particular categories.
It doesn't surprise me to say this about a team that you coach, but I feel like you're leading the way in the defense. No matter where the offense has been up and down, the defense seems to have been there night after night after night. You guys have been pretty impressive totals of holding some teams down to pretty low scores there. What has been the secret or the main ingredient there to you guys dominating on the defensive side of the ball?
Yeah, I think our kids do a pretty good job of paying attention to scouting reports, knowing who could do what, where the other team is trying to attack and against certain defensive schemes we might try to throw out there. So, it all starts with us putting an emphasis on getting back on defense, and the kids got to buy in to do that. If you're giving up transition buckets all the time, other teams are gonna be scoring a lot. So they do a good job of that, and then just being locked in on that end, and then finishing it off with a defensive rebound. So for the most part, we've been pretty good in all three of those phases. There's been days where maybe we didn't rebound it quite as well as we should have, but yeah, those are kind of our three keys there to making sure we're playing good defense. And if you're playing good defense, you're always going to be in the game. Both the games we lost, they were probably like, I know we were tied with Mediapolis with 5 minutes left or something, and then just kind of went haywire after that. And Hillcrest was really close through the middle of the fourth quarter, and then again we had to start fouling, and we turned it over.
Well, I'll tell you, I watched Fairfield play them, and they, I mean, they were real close all the time, tied it up or whatever. But when it came down to the end of the game, Fairfield was running out of time, and they had to foul them. And Hillcrest hit every single free throw. I mean, they probably got 10 or 12 points in the last 2 minutes just on free throws.
Yeah. Yep. No, they're very fundamental and skilled and do a good job of, they got a bunch of guys that can shoot the ball. And so, yeah, it's a bad situation when you got to put them on the foul line at the end of the game, but they do a nice job, and finish the game off the way they should.
Yeah, they sure play like everybody knows their roles and what to do. And I don't know if they got the most talent, but they seem to play together the best. All the teams that I've seen early, especially in the north side there. Well, what is the team improved the most on since the beginning? Free throw shooting? Is it passing? Is it 3-point shot? Whatever it may be. What do you think you're doing better than you did at the beginning of the year?
Oh, that's a good one. I can't really, honestly point to one thing that I think we've grown a bunch during the season. They're what, 15, 16, 17-year-old kids. So sometimes you're gonna work on something for part of a week, and they're gonna go into the game and it's gonna be fantastic, and then you go to work on something else, and all of a sudden that other thing reverts back to where it was. So but I think they're doing a good job of trying to push the ball. That's been an emphasis of it. Isaac's, doing a good job of making us run the court, and then I think the other thing that's coming along nicely, we got a couple freshmen that are starting to figure things out, and getting to have a little bigger role than earlier in the year, and that's just going to help us down the stretch, I think. But no, a lot of basketball to be played here in the next 2-3 weeks, so I guess we'll find out for sure what we're getting better.
You got the Egley kid this year. It looks like he's fitting into the system and really contributing right away, is he?
Yeah. Kids have known him for a long, long time, so he fits in well, and everybody loves being around him. I think he enjoys being around the kids too, so he does a nice job for us, and everybody kind of feeds off of how him bringing the ball up, pushing it, his defensive intensity. So, yeah, it's been a good fit.
Okay, well, what do we got? Or did you have any scrimmages or anything, or how did you keep the kids kind of tuned up over this break?
No, I gave him a full week off just to try to, you know, get off their feet, recuperate, let some
Let some
ankles and
ankles
knees feel
heal
a
and
little bit better. So we got back at it this week, and really just kind of went hard. I prefer to get practices in and work on what I know we need to work on rather than take a whole day and scrimmage. So yeah, we've just been getting at it, and then we get head on the road tonight at Wapello. So we'll have a test here right out the start to get going.
well, you beat me to my next question there a little bit though, and I want to talk to you a little about you got this game with Wapello tonight, and then we know that you have a game not only on Saturday, not only in Waco, but on Round Guy Radio is our first chance to see you. We did have a game booked with the Hill, not, but Holy Trinity. We were going to cover that game, but nonetheless, the wind and the weather had other ideas. But we will get this one in for you, unless the old saying, if the creeks don't rise and whatnot, good Lord willing, the creeks don't rise, we'll be there. That's a great matchup. But let's talk about both of those matchups. Tell me a little bit about what do you expect out of Wapello. I know they've got a couple conference wins early, and they do have a really good player in this Faulkner kid.
Yeah. They actually have two guys that are pretty. You gotta know where they are all the time. The majority of the stuff runs through Justin Faulkner, so we'll have a chore staying in front of him and making it tough for him. And then Richenberger is a really good shooter, good mid range. So again, he's scoring double figures per game. So we'll have to know where he is and make it tough for him too. And then just lock in defensively, see if we can get the ball going up and down the court and put some pressure on them.
Well, Waco, we've had some games of yours and theirs on, and they are, some of the best, really. I mean, and it looks like a pretty good matchup to me this year. Tell me a little bit about what Waco could do that could concern you a little bit.
I think one of the toughest things about them is just how balanced they are. I think there's maybe 3 or 4 guys averaging double figures, so that makes it tough when you don't, there's only one or two, if there's only one or two, you have to really focus on. And, those are the kind of games where you can just take people out of their stuff. But when they pretty much have, all 5 guys on the court that can put the ball in the hole, it makes it a little tougher. So they do a really good job of that. They got some athletic, quick, fast, athletic guards. Bunch of guys. They're actually shooting it from 3, probably, maybe better than anybody in the North. I think their team percentage is up around 36% or something around there. So probably them and Hillcrest have shot it the best from the 3-point range. So, and then the Hughes kid that's been playing down low, talented. He can finish around the rim and step out and shoot it too. So, yeah, they'll be a handful. They got a nice squad. They're always well coached. So, it's always fun going over there and playing them.
And when do you play Pekin?
I think it'll be Tuesday.
Oh, this is 1, 2, 3 in them, man. That's there's a lot to play for, and it's going to be an exciting upcoming a few days here for the Winfield-Mount Union Wolves. But everybody be back in action tonight. Pekin's actually playing in Wells Fargo Arena or something right now, so I'll be checking into that as soon as we're done here. But I got one more question for you, Coach. At your Christmas dinner, what was your favorite main course item and your favorite dessert?
Oh, main course was 1,000% handballs. So,
Handballs.
yeah, love those. So that was, man, I can't even remember what I did for dessert, honestly. Like I'm more of the main course and the side dishes guy. So,
Well, do you remember anything that was on the dessert tray or?
yeah, I know. I think we had a pumpkin pie in there.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
what else? I mean, the wife and daughter make sugar cookies.
Oh, yeah, that was about my
Yeah,
favorite
those
this
are
year
good
too.
too. I'll probably get in trouble if I forgot to mention those. But
Yeah, they
no,
were.
those, yeah,
Well, sounds like you had a delightful Christmas.
yeah. I always feel like a slug the next day or two after eating everything.
Oh,
No, it's good and it's worth it.
all right. Well, I thank you for taking a little time with us today. Was there anything you want to talk about that we didn't get a chance to talk about?
I think we got it all.
All right. Well, I appreciate you and good luck coming up, and we'll be seeing you for the first time on Round Guy Radio Saturday afternoon.
Sounds good. Appreciate it.